Hey guys, sorry for being on hiatus for so long. I was moving. I now live with 6 other randos, and, I just got settled in for college. Anyway, today we are going to be fixing a Mary Sue, but these are 2 of my very old characters. Their names are X and Kitten at the time. Anyway, instead of just jumping in with the design, however, I'd like to read you their story. This is really old, too. Tori Johnson, a normal girl. Tori Johnson, enter a normal girl, enter just born, enter twin sister, enter Crystal Johnson, enter all was to change. Okay. As Tori opened her eyes for the first time, she saw her mother coughing up blood, smiling at her and her sister. "Take care of my babies," she whispered, her eyes closing, never to open again. Mr. Johnson, because I couldn't come up with an actual name, the twins' father, was the town player, as they called it. Finding out his wife died... They called it finding out his wife died. He pretended to sob and cried, walking over to the side of the bed where the mother and the twins whisked away to the nursery for care. "Oh, poor, poor Angie," he whispered, a smile spread across his face and of his tamed face. There's no punctuation. "Whatever shall I do to our daughters? Drown them, sell them?" he thought, frowning. No, I'd get in trouble for that. He thought. We just established he was thinking. "Ugh, I'll have to take care of them, it seems. Well, I hear the girls like a single father," he said. Months passed and Mr. Johnson had found a new wife. The 2 girls, Crystal and Tori, watched as they dated. A year later, they were married, and they were married 2 weeks after the twins' 3rd birthday. Of course, no presents, no party. A few years later, the new Mrs. Johnson was pregnant. "Get me more," she'd yell. You heard her, girls. The girls at this point were servants to the house. No friends, no visits, no fun, just work. More food, more beer, the mother called. "But if you drink while you're pregnant, what did you say to me? B star, 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 star," the mom yelled furiously. 3 hours in the closet, both of you. The closet. The darkest place in the house. No food, but they were used to that already. "I will quit her under a bodo," the furious 10-year-old Tori, as Crystal curled up and sobbed. I was just... Tori wrapped her arm instinctively around her sister. "Shh. Boy, you didn't do nothing. Come out here," the father's drunken voice yelled. "Well, why don't you get off your fat A-star and do something for once?" Tori murmured, standing up. "Now, boy!" Tori was used to being called a boy because she was tougher than any 10-year-olds she knew. She was the ones who took the beatings mostly. "Now you get your mother a cold one," he said, turning his attention to the TV. "You ain't no mother of mine." "Ooh," Tori said coldly. "What was that?" She heard her stepmom's voice. "You heard me, fat-ass toast doll," Tori yelled. Her father jolted up, grabbing Tori by the hair. "Now listen to me, you little B star, 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 star. You respect your mother," or he couldn't finish his sentence because Tori had just spit on his face. The next 10 minutes, you heard nothing but screaming as the father beat her. Not reading this part, but basically, there was a knife and an eye. The next thing you heard was the police as the mother, enjoying the show, heard the cops. "Quick, let's leave 'em," the stepmom said. They got through the back door. By this time, Tori was clinging on to consciousness because the cops walked in. "Sister in closet," she mumbled in pain as she blacked out. "I would probably be dead." Crystal, upon seeing her sister, broke down. There are no quotation marks. No, no, she screamed, being dragged to the hospital in an ambulance watching her sister. She refused to leave her side. She'll be fine. She may have some broken ribs and her eye won't heal very well, but she'll live, the nurse kept reassuring her. Crystal had to leave Tori when Tori left for surgery. Now, miss, what happened? The cops asked over and over again. I don't know. Years passed and people started calling Tori X for the visible scar on her eye. There as in over there. 16th birthday was the next day, and the mother had given birth to a baby, considering no one would get her alcohol as Tori was in the hospital and Crystal was super distressed. This boy was only 6 and was a pain. Tori was fed up, and she had heard rumors and stories about wishing on a star. It sounded stupid, but it was her only hope. Star, grant me a wish of a protector. She begged with all her might, looking at the stars through the curtains of her dingy bedroom. As she looked at her sister, she nearly screamed. She was floating. Crystal was floating. Her blonde hair poked ears, and through her night space gown was a space yellow tail. Looking at her space self, she was changing. What? She thought. The sound as a crash sounded from behind her. A small panther, a baby, sat in front of her. It blinked a few times. What? She said as her dad walked in. What's with all the... He stopped. Freaks, he yelled and lunged at Crystal. Where are my servants? He yelled. Crystal, on new impulse, charged, biting his ear right off. Arg, he yelled, griping his ear. Tori panicked and ran out of the room. The F star. She spotted the stepmother rushing after her. What? She yelled at Tori. Turned. No, she said. Tori jumped and dug into her next paragraph, newfound claws into her stepmother's neck. Stay back! X yelled as the mom hissed, as blood splattered and she laid still. X stood up and ran to her room. X was surprised to see her father was maimed. Hurry, the cops, Kitten said, grabbing her sister's hand and running out. That's how the sisters became pastas. So, as you could tell, that was terrible. Obviously not scary, but that was the only story I wrote of them. Their characters changed a lot after that. Not that much, but like their story and who they were did. Thinking about it, it sounds kind of like an anime like transformation story. Anyway, so I tried to stick somewhat to a similar fashion with said story, with the hair color and stuff, but this time I made it realistic. So instead of colors being magic, they dyed their hairs. They're wanted criminals and all. When I made them, I wanted them to be scrawny, and the refs said that. But again, I didn't know how to draw, so I made them look extra scrawny this time by making their clothes not fit right and making them very thin and frail. It seemed to work well. In the future, their design changes with, with like weapons and stuff, because I took away their things. I added the weapons back. Obviously, the names were self-inserts for me and my cousin because we didn't know how to be original, but we can't really do anything about that now, can we? So when I reworked them a little while later, their names ended up being Yvonne for Crystal and Xavier for Tori. I made X blind in her eye because when your eye is carved as deeply as it was stated in the story that I didn't read because it was gross, with no medical care, with like barely any medical care, it's not going to work. I kind of wanted to add an infection later on, but that's when I finished the drawing and exported it, so there was no going back to that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed laughing at my story as much as I did. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.